And welcome back to Metropo Sports Center. My name is Nashon Oano. As I had promised you in the first part of the show, I was going to be joined by Manchester United diehard fan, that is Ian Keitany, to make sense of the games in the English Premier League and also in the Champions League. Ian, thank you so much for finding time to come again on Metropo Sports Center.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Now, first things first, you won. Complete the sentence.
Manchester is red.
Manchester is red.
I mean, there was no debate about us, going past Manchester City. We're used to, beating them at their own backyard. Yeah, that is the third time in a row. Yeah.
But I personally, I hadn't foreseen a situation where you guys were going to beat Manchester City. Not because I'm an Arsenal fan, but of course, looking at the performance with which Manchester City has had in the past couple of games that they've had, they beat Southampton 5-2 in the course of the week. So I sort of like expected that they were going to stand out in that particular game. What are the take-homes for you in that particular match? You still fancy you guys are going to finish in top 4?
Like I said, not really top 4, top 2 to be specific, because I feel like the biggest problem at Manchester United has always been their inconsistency. But I mean, before that game, we had drawn 3 games in a row without scoring a goal, and of course that will be a major boost to the squad. But Manchester City, of course, we always allow them to, roll with the ball, possess the ball, and then we hit them on the counter attack, and that is typical Manchester United. So okay, to me it was expected. I know to most of the guys out here it was not as they expected, but of course we are the famous Manchester United. We can do the impossible.
Okay. One of the things that people are talking about is the always expected penalty from Bruno Fernandes, because people are like, in every game, Bruno Fernandes must be given a penalty. But away from Bruno Fernandes, part of the conversation that has been going on in the English Premier League and also in the Champions League is the effectiveness of the VAR, because still we are having questionable decisions that are being made with regards to the VAR. Goals are being awarded, matches, some goals are not being awarded by virtue of decisions by the VAR. Very quickly, what will be your rating for the VAR? Do you think it's achieving its purpose and why it was introduced into the English Premier League?
I'd give the VAR 4/10 because sometimes they get their decisions right, sometimes they don't. A good example is the game when Arsenal drew against Burnley over the weekend. I mean, there was a clear-cut penalty when I think Peter or something handled the ball in the penalty area. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't even give that as a penalty, but at times they are very clear and they get their decisions right, which is sometimes a good thing in football, but to me it is sort of not being so good for the game at the moment.
Interesting that you mentioned the handball rule, because the past couple of matches have been awarded or disallowed on basis of the handball rule. What did you make of Kai Havertz's handball? Do you think that warranted a disallowing of that particular goal?
Absolutely. I think that was a clear handball. The rule is that if you handle the ball, it depends with if you handle the ball just before or into the lead to scoring a goal, of course it will be disallowed. And I think Kai Havertz sort of controlled that ball using his hand, and I think that was a good decision from the VAR.
Okay, still sticking to matters, Chelsea looks like they are not stopping anytime soon. I just wanted to get your take on probably what do you think Thomas Tuchel has done to this squad? Because when we were talking about Kai Havertz, he was a top-notch striker, was bought for a record transfer fee, and at the time was still not performing well. But look at what Thomas Tuchel has done to the squad right now. The team is much more clinical, they are tactical, they are sharp in their passes, and they are not taking any chances with the goal. What do you think Thomas Tuchel has done to this particular squad?
I think, first of all, Thomas Tuchel has, he has tried to incorporate everybody, because since his arrival, I think almost each and every player has had time to play, unlike during when Frank Lampard was there. Again, I think he has tried to solidify his defense because they've kept quite a number of clean sheets since he arrived. And again, they said, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz were sort of did not live up to the standards that the people expected them to be. They've not been on their level best. And I think Kai Havertz, this is the game against Everton was the first game that I saw just a glimpse of the Kai Havertz we used to see at Bayer Leverkusen. Timo Werner as well has been trying to find his boots, find himself, and is almost getting there.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, looking at the way Arsenal is performing at the moment, they performed really very well in the UEFA Europa League. But they drew to Burnley in the course of the week. That is 1-1 in the course of the week. What is the problem at Arsenal? This one is a very concerning question, basically coming from me as an Arsenal fan. What do you think is the exact problem as Arsenal?
I think the biggest problem at Arsenal is one, their defensive lapses, because if you look at the game against Burnley, they conceded a very, very sorry to say, but that is not a goal that any football club can concede. Granit Xhaka was at the middle of it. They conceded a very, very poor goal against Olympiacos again yesterday. They gave away 3 good chances, but Olympiacos only converted 1. So I think the biggest problem at Arsenal is their defensive lapses. Again, in games that Arsenal have dominated, I mean, the game against Burnley, they dominated the game. The game against Olympiacos, but they had to wait until the dying minutes of the game to score, and they won 3-1. But they dominate the game, but they cannot convert the chances. I think if they can be able to convert the chances that they get, Arsenal can be a very, very dangerous team. And I think again, Mikel Arteta has to work on his defensive side of the team, because they're conceding very, very easy goals.
Okay. Away from that, I just wanted to get your take on the performance of Liverpool in the English Premier League. They seem to be struggling a lot, but looking at how they're performing in the Champions League, they're giving a stellar performance. I mean, they won their game against Leipzig. But looking at how they performed in the English Premier League is not such a happy performance, considering that they are defending champions. Part of the conversation that I was having with somebody in the course of the week, somebody was alluding to the fact that probably the English Premier League is one of the toughest leagues in the world right now compared to other leagues, because if you look at they play with the RB Leipzig, they beat Leipzig, they come back to the English Premier League, then they are beaten by teams like Fulham and the likes. First of all, what do you make of the performance of Liverpool? What is the problem at Liverpool? And do you agree that the English Premier League is one of the toughest leagues at the moment?
There's no question about the English Premier League being the toughest league, across Europe, because I mean, Timo Werner, of course, also admitted that it is a bit different. It is a bit rough in England as compared to the Bundesliga, and of course, there's no debate about that. Liverpool, I think at times the biggest problem with the Liverpool at the moment, I think, the fact that if you look at the game against RB Leipzig, Fabinho is in midfield, and Fabinho is quite a good player when he's playing in the middle of the park. In the Premier League, Fabinho has been playing on the defensive side, and I think the defensive woes was started when they lost Virgil van Dijk, and they've not been the same again. People are talking about them having quite a number of injuries, but that cannot be said to be the main reason, because many teams do have injuries, but they still manage to come out on top. Again, there is something at times in the Premier League between Sadio Mane and Mo Salah. I don't really understand what, but it seems like there's some sort of rivalry between the two of them, and one of them is trying to outshine the other. And at times there have been questions about Mo Salah being a bit, not genuine in terms of sometimes he keeps the ball to himself when he should be releasing the ball. Sometimes you find Man is open, but Salah does not release the ball. And I think it is a problem that Jurgen Klopp needs to address, because they have a very, very good side. Very good side. I mean, Liverpool, people are talking about Liverpool probably winning the Premier League for probably 3 years in a row, but that has not come to be. And I think they have to reorganize themselves. Klopp has to find where the problem is and, incorporate that team together again, because they brought in Thiago Alcantara, who is an exceptional player, but has not been able to, bring in the spark that team required.
There have been conversations about there are people who are already alluding to the fact that maybe it's time for Jurgen Klopp to probably step aside from Liverpool when he's still being held in high regard. Because if you look at somebody like Jurgen Klopp, he's won most of the major titles in the Bundesliga and also in the English Premier League. Do you think that this is a time for Jurgen Klopp to probably step aside and walk away from the coaching arena when his star is still high?
No, I don't believe so, because if you're telling me he has won almost everything, the Champions League, the Premier League. How many managers have been there? I mean, Ferguson was there, but he stayed. Pep Guardiola has been there, but he still, managed to, stay on that stage. So I think it is about time that Jurgen Klopp, solidifies his name among the greatest managers of all time by, trying again to help Liverpool find their feet and being on the top of the European football as they used to be. So I don't think it is time that he leaves. I mean, there have been talks about him being replaced by Steven Gerrard, but I think that is not the right thing at the moment. I think Jurgen Klopp should continue being at Liverpool.
Okay. Interesting you've mentioned Steven Gerrard, who's actually doing well in his coaching career. We are going to be talking about that in another edition of Metropole Sports Center. Time for us to switch gears into the UEFA Champions League. Now, the following is just how the game was played. That is Juventus versus Porto. Juventus lost. Juventus were kicked out of the tournament by a 10-man side, that is Porto. Dortmund versus Sevilla. PSG versus Barcelona. The game ended 1-1, and then Liverpool versus RB Leipzig. We already talked about Leipzig's and Liverpool's performance in the squad. Juventus versus Porto. Do you think Juventus deserved to win that game?
I don't really think so. I mean, I watched that game from the beginning to the end, and Juventus were, always pressing, always creating opportunities. But I mean, there are chances that they should have scored, of course, with Morata missing clear-cut chances, a couple of them, the first half. Again, he, did find the back of the net, but it was ruled offside. I don't understand why Morata has always to be offside. But I think, FC Porto were very, very solid, having it in mind that they played with 10 men for almost an hour. The guy was sent off at 54th minute. They went to extra time while they were, one man down, and they managed to, contain the pressure and the attacks from Juventus. And I think Pepe, I mean, he's 38 years old, but he was exceptional that night. And I think Porto deserved to go through.
Okay. Dortmund versus Sevilla. We can't run away from talking about Erling Haaland. Haaland is having a stellar performance. He's actually the top scorer in the Champions League. He had a total of 9 goals in the tournament. And he's really doing well. Like, he can't seem to stop scoring in whichever game that he plays. When he's playing for his team in the Bundesliga, he scores goals. When he plays in the Champions League, he seems to be scoring goal. That particular game, that is Dortmund versus Sevilla. Did you expect that performance from Dortmund? And how far do you see Borussia Dortmund going in this particular competition?
Of course, Dortmund are a very, very good side. And Erling brought Haaland. I mean, the guy is exceptional. The guy is on top of the world at the moment. And, with his 2 goals, he did send Dortmund through to the quarterfinals. But I don't really think Dortmund will go far because, I mean, Dortmund are not, they have the same problem with Manchester United. They are not consistent. They will find them, being so good this week. The next week they're out. So I don't really think they will go far in this competition. But, I really want to see how far can they go with Haaland, because this is a guy who has, written in his name on the biggest stage. And of course, now that Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi are out, all eyes are turning to Haaland and, of course, Kylian Mbappe. So I didn't want them to go far, but honestly speaking, I don't think they can really go past the quarterfinals.
Okay. Keitany, we are going to be taking a short commercial break, and after the break we are going to be continuing the conversation on the Champions League and the Europa League. Just before we go for a break, the following are just some of the teams that have qualified into the next round of the Champions League. That is Porto, Dortmund, PSG, Liverpool and Manchester City. There have been already conversation about the possibility of PSG winning the Champions League this season, but seeing the fact that Liverpool, the defending champions, are still high in the competition, it's going to be interesting to see how far they're going to go into the competition. More on this after the break.